Landscapers often spend a lot on SEO, ads, on social. Where do you see, in broad strokes, the biggest waste crop up at this awareness stage with smaller service businesses?
The biggest waste is...
There's a line in the book, and I'm just going to read it. You incinerated huge sums of money on a marketing or branding agency, and all you had to show for it was a shiny new logo and some pretty design. Impact on your revenue, approximately zero. Why do so many business owners, as a result, just kind of have that overarching belief system towards marketing in general?
It kind of goes back to wins that you've often had in the business. So, for example, you're struggling with your IT systems or whatever, and you get an IT guy, you outsource all your IT problems go away. You've got HR problems in your business and you need to get contracts together, whatever, you outsource your HR stuff to a HR person. Boom, your HR problems go away. So it feels logical that, hey, I've got all of these marketing problems. Why don't I get a marketing agency in, outsource all of that, and they'll fix all that? The issue is IT, HR, some of the other operational stuff in your business, they're peripheral to the core of the business, whereas marketing is the core of what you do as a business. Peter Drucker famously said the two jobs of any entrepreneur are innovation and marketing. And most entrepreneurs have got the innovation part down. They're really good at product development, making sure the service delivery is really good, all of that sort of thing. But often they're lacking in the marketing component. Marketing is core to your business. So I think that's kind of the fundamental core of why people make that mistake. Why a lot of agencies don't work for people. Like, hey, I blew through $20,000, $50,000, $100,000, millions of dollars sometimes, and we got nothing from our agency. There is a strategic way to use agencies intelligently to get good results. If you're just abdicating the marketing role to somebody external and hoping that they do a great job for you, you're setting them up for failure. And if they're silly enough to take that on, they're also setting themselves up for failure. No one will know your business as well as you do. No one will care about your business as much as you do. You've got to be in control of the marketing. It doesn't mean you have to press all the buttons and do all the stuff, but the strategy has to be with you. You have to own it and you have to take responsibility for it.
Landscapers often spend a lot on SEO, ads, on social. Where do you see, in broad strokes, the biggest waste crop up at this awareness stage with smaller service businesses?
The biggest waste is interruption style marketing. So marketing that's like cold calling, marketing that's like ads that are kind of intrusive and waste people's time and like spammy kind of stuff, because people will tell you it's a numbers game. If we send enough of them, some of them will go through, and maybe that's true, but it's hugely wasteful. You're going to burn a ton of money, but most importantly, you're going to burn a ton of goodwill. I don't know if you've ever heard of economic principle. It's called an externality. A factory, you're manufacturing something and there's pollution coming out of the smokestack, it's going into the community. That's a negative externality. So you're creating value for yourself, but you're putting all this pollution out into the air and the community suffers. Maybe they have health issues or whatever. I feel like a lot of advertising is that. It's putting pollution out there. It's not creating value for anyone and it's costing a lot of money. Conversely, there's positive externalities. Positive externality is where you create a lot of value. One of my neighbors just behind me spends hours and hours and hours in their garden doing gardening, weeding. They've got a beautiful fountain and all of that sort of thing. And I sit on my balcony and I appreciate that garden, but it didn't cost me anything. The cost was purely on the neighbor, that they maintain it, they pay for it, all of that, but it still elevates the neighborhood. So that's a positive externality. So that's the kind of marketing that I want to do, where, hey, we created a ton of great content. People love it, and whether they buy from you or not, you're creating goodwill, because goodwill is something that is actually monetizable. Like literally when you sell a business, a line item on the balance sheet is goodwill. So it's the amount someone paid for your business over and above the inventory and over and above the plant and equipment.
Is there a reason for a landscaper that more interruption style marketing does not work? Because I assume that does work for other businesses with a different type of product.
I think it can work. I mean, if you land in someone's inbox or whatever at the exact right time that they're trying to do landscaping or whatever, maybe that can work. work, the chances of you doing that are pretty infinitesimal. A better approach is someone who's, hey, showing up, creating really cool content, someone I'm already following, someone I've already got trust in. They're showing me their process, showing me some of their work, someone in the local area that I've seen do other jobs and things like that. Well, now we've got know, like, and trust, and so you're far ahead of just some random person just interrupting my day and saying, hey, do you need landscaping?
One externality that definitely is negative, but it sort of seems positive at first, is what I would just call broadly vanity metrics. You're paying for likes and clicks and impressions. What would be your advice for business owners to really cut through the tendency to pay for those and begin paying for metrics that matter, which is a form fill, which is a booked estimate, which is a closed job? These are business results that we can track in our CRM. These are not just sort of Facebook results that our agency is trying to tell us are showing progress. And I know that's a very felt experience for a lot of our listeners, where it's like, hey man, I can't take the 6,000 impressions you got us to the bank next week, and I really need to make payroll. So any thoughts on kind of cutting through vanity metrics?
You know, when it comes to marketing, there's a billion different metrics we can measure, but there's really only two that matter. The only two that really matter are cost of customer acquisition, sometimes called CAC, and the other one is LTV, lifetime value. So CAC is how much did it cost us to acquire a customer, and LTV is what's the lifetime value of our average customer. So let's say you spent $100,000 on your marketing. Out of that, you got 100 clients through the year. So your cost of customer acquisition is $1,000. You might even segment this by types of jobs and things like that. So if you want to get a little bit more sophisticated, maybe, you know, if you're just doing small little mowing things or whatever, that's one segment, and then huge landscaping jobs is another segment. Here, just for the sake of simplicity, we'll call it $1,000 to acquire a customer. Now, you know that your lifetime value has to be over $1,000. So lifetime value might be the initial landscape that you do, maybe ongoing maintenance or whatever that you have. They're the two numbers that really matter most above all else. Everything else is just helping you troubleshoot to get to those numbers. So if our lifetime value is too low, or if our cost of customer acquisition is too high, then we'll go back and we use different metrics to kind of troubleshoot. We say, okay, how many impressions did we get? Of those impressions, how many clicked through to the landing page? Of those who clicked on the landing page, how many filled in the form? And so then we can use those metrics to kind of troubleshoot our campaigns to say, looks like people are landing on the landing page, but they're not filling the form. What's wrong with the landing page? Is it too confusing? Is it too, does it format weirdly, or whatever it is? But those metrics are really only a means to an end. The core metrics that I want you to care about, if I wake you up at 3 a.m. and ask you, hey, what's your CAC, what's your LTV, you know those numbers.
I love this whole idea because, one, it's very lean, and two, it's very timely, in the sense that in today's business climate, we're all told about data and dashboards, and that's true. But the truth is, I actually think that we're over rotating on that to some degree, where we have dashboards that are so many tabs long and have so many cells that it's actually more noise than signal. And the way you just put it is really helpful, because it's like, no, there's actually only two fundamental. These are the king of KPIs. It's CAC and it's LTV. Now, if one of those two things or both of those things are way off from where they need to be, we can then double click in, and then we can look at conversion on the landing page, and then we can look at impressions, and we can look at cost per earn view, and we can get really, but the problem is a lot of us look at too much data all the time because we think we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, and we actually confuse ourselves worse than had we just been almost data blind in the first place. So I love distilling it down to something really simple. CAC and LTV, begin there, and then everything else gets a lot easier when you're clear on those.
Get on it.